Who do you call? Listening. Who's going to save the day? The Mighty Mouse, right? Mighty Mouse. When you think about this little guy who was a superhero, reminds me of Ben Hogan, who was a small man. They called him the Wee Iceman in Scotland. He was called Bantam Ben. But boy, could this guy crush a golf ball. Let's talk about his secrets. Years and years ago, when Hogan and Snead, Demerit, Gary Middlecoff, all of them were playing the tour and were big stars, they didn't make a lot of money like today's PGA Tour superstars. They had all kinds of gimmicks. They played a lot of exhibitions, but one of the big things they did was have long drive contests. Guess who won them all? Most of them anyway. Ben Hogan. In those early days when he was on tour, he rotated his wrist, made this big turn, and he kind of had this slap hook that would take off like this and then turn left and just roll and roll and roll. It was great for winning long drive contests, but it was not great for winning money and winning tournaments. I was at media day for the Colonial, which was Hogan's club later in life, and he had already become friends or acquaintances with me. And Hogan came up to me and he says, "Bob, you want to play a few holes?" Going, "Yeah, of course." So we played 9 holes together there at Colonial. Hogan only said one thing to me, which I remember to this day. He goes, "Bob, you might want to watch that right elbow." I never ever thought about my right elbow in the swing. So let's examine this incredible secret of Ben Hogan for accuracy and distance, and it'll be a great lesson for you. Elbow in the golf swing, what are we talking about? Well, did you ever play baseball and maybe you were shortstop or second baseman? Shortstop especially. He feels the ball and then he throws it like that. This is the move, and it gives you accuracy and quickness. Also, stop and think. If you were going to hold a bowling ball in your right hand, or left hand if you're left-handed, you wouldn't hold it with your arm like this. You'd turn that elbow up and the palm up, and you'd strongly support. Well, okay, let's put a golf club in there. Look at that. That's the power position with that elbow here. When that elbow goes like that, there is no power. It's a release of power. So just remember that elbow, that trailing elbow, has to be in this position as you're in this downswing position so that you can strike the ball and release. Unfortunately, 2 of my idols, Palmer and Hogan, did not get along. There's been a lot of conversation why Hogan, especially Hogan, didn't like Palmer. Palmer liked everybody. There was nobody in golf that's more beloved than Arnold Palmer. He'd walk into the pro shop or the dining room or something, all the other pros, "Hi, Arn, hi, Arn." They loved him. Hogan, because, well, he saw his father commit suicide when he was only 9 years old, and Hogan was totally focused, was not outgoing at all. I don't know if that difference in personality was a bit of a clash, but I do know this. Hogan did not like Arnold Palmer's golf swing because Hogan had worked so hard to have this perfect golf swing. Arnie just took it back, those big shoulder turns, ripped it with his forearms. He always said, "Just hit it hard. It'll go somewhere. Find it, hit it again." Totally different philosophy than Ben Hogan. In 1967, Hogan was captain of the Ryder Cup team. Of course, the star was Arnold Palmer. Palmer said later, almost sad, almost with tears in his eyes, "You know, Ben Hogan never called me by my name, never said Arnie or Palmer." And I think it just has to do with the 2 different swings and 2 different personalities, but both of them among the all-time greats. Let's get back to Hogan's swing, not Arnie's. Well, you do not want to be in this position. You're in that position if that right elbow just stops moving. But if you're in this position, look where the elbow is. And that's where Hogan was. So let's envision Hogan taking it back, and he always wanted the elbows here in close. And he would say you should practice like this, with your hips and your elbows together, and just make it longer and longer and longer. And then when he would come down, man, you would see that transfer of power, transfer of weight, and his elbow would be right here until he finally released. Now it comes to the full swing. Remembering this elbow, which has been staying close to the body, both of them, as it gets longer and longer, but now you're ready for the swing. And Hogan would take it with that wonderful shoulder turn, and then he would come down. And right here, that right elbow would be far in front of the wrist, so forth, and then he would come right to here and release and finish with that beautiful finish. One more thing about Hogan. Toss this in. Balance. All that power, all that speed, but he was in perfect balance. One of the greatest shot in golf of all time is Ben Hogan, 1950 at Merion, hitting that 1-iron on the 18th hole that secured the par that got him into the playoff and won the United States Open. And you remember that picture where Hogan is like this and just absolutely perfect balance. Right after he has hit this enormous drive with that right elbow preceding the club, the wrist, the grip, and everything else. So learn from Ben Hogan, his greatest lesson. And may your lesson in your life be absolutely amazing.